The dream in D.C., Prime Minister Christie shares in Martin Luther King's vision.
Flying high, 1,500 pounds of marijuana gets a special ride to the Capitol. Find out where it came from.
And Saving Sammy, a piece of Bahamian culture is revived. The National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Lime.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Keishla Adderley.
And I'm Candino Knowles. As always, it's good to have you with us.
Topping the news tonight, the Bahamas today shared in the nostalgia of 50 years ago when famed civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. addressed throngs of Americans with his I Have a Dream speech.
U.S. President Barack Obama headlined the anniversary event today in Washington, where Prime Minister Perry Christie, complimented by a Junkanoo group, endorsed the message of racial equality.
In 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. gave his I Have a Dream speech on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial behind me. 50 years later, the Bahamian Prime Minister joins in to let freedom ring. And Prime Minister Perry Christie said to do that, this time must be not just about reflection, but rejuvenation.
But above all, a profoundly personal level in the most authentic way possible, a time for rededication to the dream that Martin Luther King championed throughout his life.
The Prime Minister said Martin Luther King Jr.'s words are as relevant and as compelling today as they were 50 years ago. He said Dr. King's words came from not only deep within himself, but from deep within us all.
He had awakened to the call of that place and was rousing us from our slumber so that we could take our own inner soundings and hear it too. In so doing, he gave language to our deepest yearning for a better life. Martin Luther King's work remains unfinished. This then must be for all of us a time not only for renewal, but above all, a profoundly personal level in the most authentic way possible, a time for rededication to the dream that Martin Luther King championed throughout his life.
Prime Minister Christie added that we must carry on Dr. King's great and noble struggle because his work is not finished, adding that his blood cries out to us all.
To stand up for freedom, to stand up for human dignity, to stand up for equality, to stand up for social justice, to stand up for right and not for wrong, for peace and not for war, for love and not for hate.
And for more Bahamian flavor, the sounds of Junkanoo echoed throughout the mall. In 1963, 300,000 people turned out for the march in Washington. Today, although the weather isn't great, they've still turned out in great numbers to make sure that they keep the dream alive. In Washington, D.C., I'm Julian Reed for ZNS Network News.
Minister of State for National Security Senator Keith Bell has defended Defense Force officers at the detention center amidst abuse allegations.
He told the Senate today that the officers are challenged on several levels. He explained why Cuban detainees may present a particular challenge.
Several of these persons were part of the Cuban military trained. So, Madam President, when the opposition went out there, stigmatized, ostracized our officers of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, it is important for the Bahamian people to know who it is that our Defense Force officers had to deal with, what it is they're faced with in the night when these persons attempt to escape, and only them and God in the back there. So we need to put it in perspective, Madam President. As a matter of fact, Madam President, because of the uprising, these persons were moved, several of them were moved to Her Majesty's prison, where there was no issues. And even there at Her Majesty's prison, Madam President, they wire shut their mouths with wire. A high-grade wire, Madam President,
Also from the Senate, opposition senators continue to show support for Free National Movement leader Dr. Hubert Minnis by boycotting Senate proceedings today.
However, it was business as usual for government senators who debated the stem cell bill, among other things. Fern Carey has details of today's proceedings.
Leader of Government Business in the Senate, the Honorable Allison Maynard Gibson, described the Stem Cell Research and Therapy Bill as a landmark piece of legislation that is expected to open up a new frontier for medical research and therapy in the country. It includes the establishment of a National Stem Cell Ethics Committee, measures for enforcement and accountability, and procedural safeguards and requirements.
The bill prohibits 9 procedures, Madam President, such as those that involve creating and then destroying human embryos. I want to pause here. This was very important to almost everybody that we consulted. I want to say almost everybody because there were some persons who felt that because embryonic stem cells are more potent, I think is the correct word, than adult stem cells, that the Bahamas ought to open itself to the opportunity of utilizing embryonic stem cells. We have made it very clear that that is not a path that we wish to go down.
The bill comes at a time of heated debate and controversy over stem cell research, especially as it relates to ethical issues. However, Maynard assured that doctors have been using stem cell therapy for more than 40 years to treat a long list of diseases, and she stressed that a regulatory regime that meets the highest international standards will be put in place to address those concerns.
The consultants that we engaged to assist us in preparing this bill and the regulations that support the regime were consultants, Madam President, that had been involved in preparing the regulatory regime in other jurisdictions, including the United States of America and Canada. So this isn't something we drug up out of our own heads. We consulted the best in the world.
Meantime, employment opportunities are also expected to be created for scientists and entrepreneurs moving forward.
We are going to train our young people, have our young people understand there's a whole new frontier. Remember Celine spoke about the new frontier? Here we are now.
Fern Carey, ZNS Network News.
Meantime, leader of government business in the Senate, Allison Maynard Gibson, speaking to the opposition boycott, expressed disappointment that the opposition, in her view, chose to let politics interfere with the people's business.
Disappointed but not surprised that they are putting petty politics above the interests of the Bahamian people. These are very, very important bills. The stem cell bill is a landmark bill. The crime bills, crime is extremely important to the Bahamian people, and what is being done to effect efficiency in the administration of justice is something that our people want to know. And they would like to see, I believe, the FNM and the PLP working together in the interest of Bahamians.
Now, although she hasn't spoken to any of the opposition senators, the leader of government business said the events which transpired in the House of Assembly this month have absolutely nothing to do with the business of the upper chamber.
That anything that happened in the House of Assembly has nothing to do with the Senate or what happened in the House of Assembly in respect of what Mr. Minnis had to say. That did not happen in the Senate. So I would have thought that the FNMs who are members of the Senate would have taken the opportunity to, again, in the interest of the Bahamian people, come and express their views on these extremely important matters.
Back to the stem cell bill in the Senate, Senator Cheryl Bazard harped on the fact that stem cell therapy will help to save and prolong the lives of many.
And feeling the spirit of Martin Luther King Jr. today, it was an uncashed check that the Bahamian people were due, but it was not cashed in that other place because they decided that they would muddy the waters and talk about things other than. But today the Senate, the upper house, on the right day, yes, has cashed that check for Bahamians in understanding and explaining what this stem cell therapy is all about. Looking at Parkinson's diseases, spinal cord injuries, and all of these have really depleted the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and have robbed us of many promising citizens.
Now, stem cell therapy is a billion-dollar industry which continues to grow, and Senator Julian Russell highlighted the economic benefits that stem cell therapy will bring to the Bahamian economy.
Another avenue in tourism, that of being medical tourism, and it does not have to stop with research and clinical trials. After research and clinical trials come manufacturing, if they choose to do so. That is manufacturing products for human consumption.
Also in favor of the bill, Senator Alex Storr told his colleagues that stem cell therapy will put the Bahamas on the cutting edge of medicine and push the country to the forefront when it comes to medical research worldwide.
Madam President, stem cell therapy is at the forefront of current medical treatment. As it is with all new treatments, there are misconceptions and misinformation, mostly emanating from those who are not properly informed. When doctors first started performing organ transplants, I can imagine what was said by the skeptics then. It was probably the same arguments that we are hearing now about stem cell therapy.
In our first look at weather, we have an upper level trough over the northwest Bahamas. That, coupled with a tropical wave near the southeast Bahamas, continues to bring on the rains and the shower activity. But outside of our studios just now, we have mostly cloudy skies. Your temperature 84 degrees, relative humidity 70%. Your winds out of the east northeast at 5 knots. Barometric pressure 1,015.3 millibars. It's 29.98 inches, and it is falling. But stay tuned. Your temperatures around the Founding Islands. Travel and boating forecast is still to come.
Still ahead, police intercept hundreds of pounds of drugs. The story behind the delivery coming up.
And later on in sports, we've got highlights from softball last night. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Shell Helix Ultra. Performance you can